Hi, and welcome to Truth, Health, and Wellness with Dr. Matt and Deborah St. John. You guys have just gotten back from the Amazon, right? So we've got a special show for you today, actually. So as normal, if you have questions, go ahead and send them in on Facebook to the St. John's Nutrition site, and we will get those answered another time. But for today, we're going to talk about the Amazon. Tell me what went on down there. What? Oh my goodness, so much stuff.
So much. It's hard to even know where to start. It was so amazing. The Lord really showed up and showed out for us as soon as we landed, basically.
Oh yeah, when we land, of course, when you land in Iquitos, first you have to fly into Lima, and then you are checked into the country, and then you hop a flight up from Lima over to Iquitos, which is sort of sad because you actually fly past Iquitos as you're on your way to Lima, but it's about an hour flight, and when you get to Iquitos, they basically just pull in the runway and let you out.
Is it a little plane? Like how many people on the
No, it's a standard smaller jet, but it's the kind that have like 3 seats over here and 3 seats over here. It's not the one that has the 5 seats in the middle. But they let you out on the runway. So the first thing you do is you get out of the plane and feel that humid, hot air. And of course, the cool thing is that as you're flying in, you can actually see the Amazon River.
It's so beautiful.
So we're looking out and we're like, that's our place over there, you know, at the literally.
Because it's so huge and vast.
You see the convergence of the Ucayali and the Maranon rivers, and you actually can see it from the plane if it's decent weather. And so that's exciting. But then you get out, and as soon as we get out, we look across, and there's our porter, our friend Victor, who somehow is always at the airport on one side when we get there, yet he's always at the airport on the other side when we arrive the other way. I don't know how he does
everywhere.
it. Victor, you're amazing. And so he's waving at us, and so Victor, we actually had a gift for him, a little bag that we had put together.
He didn't know we were coming.
Oh, wow.
No, he didn't
But
know.
he was there.
He was there.
He was there,
Oh, my goodness.
waving at us.
He's always there.
And this guy, I mean, by the time he sees us, we can't lift a thing. We can't get a thing. I'm surprised he doesn't follow us to the restroom. I mean, it's amazing. And so he's our friend, and we gave him a devotional. And when we left Iquitos this time, he was there to totally take care of me. He puts us to the front of the line. It's almost embarrassing because there's all these other people. They're like, who do you know? We're like, we know Victor. But he took us to the front of the line, and he was telling us how much he appreciated the devotionals that we had given him, and that his grandson was reading the devotional every morning with him. It was just really touching. And so it's just one of the 1,000 stories that we have from going there. But I mean, it was just amazing. We were able to actually spend time with our rescue sloths and our rescue monkeys. And let me tell you, it's hard. You know how it is with a dog when there's little Liam up in the top left. He lives on our property there with his family, and that's Nero. That's his favorite one. That's kind of our favorite right now too. But in the chair, it's me and Nilla. That's the female, and there's Deborah with Nero, I think, and I think little Nilla sitting down there with one of our plants around the cabin. But those monkeys are just amazing. And if you once
so
again
cute.
Look at this sloth over on the right. I mean, well, it's in the middle and they're on the right. Now, you know how a pet keeps you at home and makes you kind of like worthless sometimes, and you come up with excuses to not do things because you just want to hang out with your dog or cat? Well, imagine a sloth. Imagine a little sloth that just wants to sit with you and look adorable and cuddle with you.
Just smile at you.
So you see me on this. I was there for 4 hours on this hammock with other things that we needed to do. But once you have a sloth on your hammock,
You're there.
You're locked. So that was and that was little Bonnie. Our sloth's names were Bonnie and Clyde because they're the exact antithesis of those names. So it's just wonderful. And so we basically we didn't just do this though. We didn't just go to hang out with sloths. We were there to meet with our friends. We were there to deliver solar lights.
That was our mission, basically, was to put solar in
systems,
the huts.
And so we've already done a few, but by the time we left, oh my goodness, and this is amazing right here. Let me tell you this story. So this man on the left, he doesn't look like a big guy. Let me tell you, he's the strongest human being I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, wow.
In the middle, you see two men, two full-size men. One is a former Peruvian military heavy machine gunner named Santos. The other one's Percy. They're picking up, as you can see, a tree that's about 30 feet long, about 6 inches in diameter. Now they're actually shimmying that tree over to, what was his name?
Jose.
Shimmying that tree over to Jose, who had climbed that tree wearing nothing but a pair of shorts and that t-shirt. It was a wet tree. He had shimmied 25 feet up to the top of that tree. Now, why are these men doing this? Well, it was to catch a Cambo frog. Cambo is a natural medicine used in the Amazon, and we were going to use Cambo the next morning, and so we were there to harvest a Cambo frog. Now, this man, I think he has sandals on there possibly, but he was in bare feet when he came out there. We were actually from our knees down in swamp water next to the Amazon River. A coral snake, a poisonous coral snake that actually has no antidote known, had just gone by us within feet of where we were and
swam
swam straight across us and was hiding under a log. Meanwhile, Jose, right?
Jose.
Meanwhile, Jose walks barefoot through that water, knocks an army ant off the tree. A bullet ant off the tree. And you don't want to get bit by a bullet ant. Somebody can Google that and read about it.
What was it?
A bullet ant that he thumps off the tree. That was there when he got on it. And of course, they were joking about it. Then he shimmies up the tree using nothing but his own, legs and feet and arms, legs and arms and feet. And he shimmies up the tree 25 feet and then sits in the Y. Then they shimmy this tree, this is a full-size tree, over to him because the Cambo frog's on another tree across about another 20 feet away in the air, 30 feet high. So Jose then heaves this tree that those two men can barely lift and get up to him. He lifts that tree straight up where he is in the tree and leans it over to get the frog. I've never seen a feat of strength anywhere comparable.
It was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable, and there we are. Of course, the tree almost fell on us a couple, and everything else. And so we're there with the frogs and all the of course mosquitoes and everything else that was going on, watching this whole event, and it was absolutely amazing. So after this was all done, of course, we made sure that Jose got hooked up with a solar system for his home because he didn't have any light, has never had any light.
Wow.
And so he's a pineapple farmer and also a banana farmer.
But I have a real quick question on the frog. How did you know that frog was in the top of that tree? Is it the sound it makes, or y'all visually?
So you go out, and we were on our land, and we were and you go bop, and bop, bop, and the frog will call back to you.
They talk right
They'll
back.
go bop, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, well, there they are. And then all of a sudden, everybody takes off through the woods, and you're like, where are we going? And all of a sudden, we're in the swamp, and we're like, why are we in the swamp? And then there's a coral snake. You're like, why are we here? And then you look up, and this frog, about this big, is just perched up on a limb and will not move. Will not move. Once they're in the tree, they won't move.
Wow.
Except when you put a stick over and they hop on the stick. I guess they want to be captured, it seems like. And so then you extract the medicine from the frog, and then you use this like the next morning. Absolutely amazing. But we called the frogs.
Okay.
We found the frogs.
Yeah, it led us straight to it.
Jose climbs a 25-foot tree, barehanded and barefooted, and then they use a 30-foot tree that's 6 inches in diameter to heave up. It was absolutely
amazing.
So we actually did Cambo the next morning. Actually, it was 2 mornings away from that we had used Cambo, and it was just amazing. But Jose, I've never seen a human being that strong in my life. I mean, literally so strong. But we were going around the village handing out these solar systems, and it was just absolutely incredible. The gentleman on the left, he hooked us up with some bananas because of those solar systems. The family on the right, this lady, Adriana, she had a broken leg that set wrong, and so we've been kind of helping her with therapy and all, but we were able to bring lights to their home. And it makes a huge difference because in the jungle, you've never seen darkness like you've seen in the jungle. When it's dark, it's dark.
It is dark.
And of course, the predators come out. So people can't do things. And the kids need to study. They want to read their Bibles. They want to do things. And so we didn't realize it until we actually got there. But these solar systems that we're providing, which we can provide for about $100 US dollars, 4 lights. The systems charge really well because in the Amazon, you have the equator and you have a lot of sunlight. And you can actually charge those with a generator if you need to for backup so they can have power even if it's raining. Then we find out that the systems have an FM, AM/FM radio, and there's something called jungle radio. Believe it or not, it's like the jungle news. It's like
it's incredible.
Jungle news.
Who would have thought?
Today in Tom Shiaku, a boat capsized, and seriously, that's what they do in Spanish,
my
of course.
goodness.
And so it's broadcast all through the Amazon. So as we're going and as we're installing and delivering these panels at night, because we want to install them at night because it really shows how amazing it is. And so we're installing these systems at night, but as we're walking past the village, we're seeing lights on where people never had light, and we're hearing the radios going. And also, this is the kicker, Bluetooth. The things have a Bluetooth system built into them.
Wow.
So this leads to a story that I'm going to tell in a second about when we went to visit Jaime and Sadith, our friends, the shaman who accepted Christ last time we were there. They had to go to a village upriver to go work to support their kid for school, and but these Bluetooth systems, we were literally playing music, Spanish Christian music, at these homes after we installed the systems.
That's awesome.
And the people were really touched. They were, to know that you're giving these people something that is so versatile, because while there's no power in Santa Ana in this village, there's a cell phone tower in Tamshiaku not far away. So a lot of them have phones, or their kids maybe have little devices that somebody's given them, and they can pick up that cell signal and they'll use it, even though they have to charge them using solar.
Wow.
It's wild, but the solar systems are blowing us away because we're seeing that they're lasting. And we tell the people it's not just, it's one thing to give someone something or provide something for someone to begin with. But what about the bulbs? What do they do in the bulbs below?
Yeah.
A lot of them can't go to Iquitos to buy bulbs. Well, we're trying to make sure that we keep people in bulbs, that we keep people servicing, and also understanding the fragility of these systems, because people are pretty hard on things in the jungle. And so but we're really impressed with how well they're taking care of them, how much they appreciate them. It's really, really cool. And it's something that's non-invasive. It doesn't inhibit their traditions. It doesn't. It's non-toxic. It's not. It's not something that's going to end up in the Amazon River. As poison or plastics and that sort of thing. So it's clean energy that we're providing. And so we're working now. We have the lieutenant on board with us, and he's the leader of the whole community. And he finally has been watching. I didn't even realize he was a Facebook friend of mine. So he'll actually be watching this show.
Okay.
And his name's Elmer. And Elmer offered our support, and that's the reason that we had. It was just amazing because we ended up having church Sunday in the village, and we provided chocolate to the kids and adults. And
it was really delicious.
Delicious chocolate because they use cacao. They use the real chocolate.
Oh wow!
But we had chocolate in the village. We had everybody gathered. We had a church service. We played Christian contemporary music in Spanish. Had like Hillsong going and stuff, and it was really it was amazing. And then Elmer introduced us basically formally kind of to the village, and there was about
There's Elmer.
Yeah, there's Elmer in the middle. Notice the sack. Now he carried that sack of goods about, what would you say, 2 miles?
At least.
He hiked 2 miles in the jungle in 90-degree weather with 100% humidity. Just him, and there's of course one of the other leaders of the village. There's a young man who's mixing the chocolate, and it was just amazing. This was the morning. There I am. I couldn't stand it. I had to mix it myself.
So you made the chocolate right there?
Yes, right there.
Did you take it out and let it cool, or how did
It
that?
was
or
hot.
did you,
It was hot chocolate that they served.
Okay.
You pour it in a mug,
Uh-huh.
and then they get this buttered bread, and you dip it in it and eat it, and it's like a Christmas delicacy that they have.
It's
and
considered a delicacy.
we provided it at Christmas time, and it looked so amazing that
wanted
I
to do
thought, let's do that while we're there.
And it was cool because normally it's very hot, of course. Well, the rain came in, and it was a really cool rain. But you see the people, they're open fire on the concrete there under the pavilion. That's where they're cooking the rice. You see the lady who's preparing the food.
They're making lunch.
The same ladies and men are always there preparing the food we noticed in the village.
Oh, wow.
And so
For the workers.
Yeah, we provided the lunch as far as the raw materials and whatnot, but they always prepare it, and they are meticulous. That food is incredible. They kind of politely shooed Deborah away when she was trying to help.
I'm like, can I do anything?
Yeah, they're
Right.
like, no, go sit over there, Gringo. but I was determined I was going to use that boat oar to mix that chocolate up and do it as long as I could. It was delicious, delicious, delicious. And so we had that, and then we had goods. There we are. All 28 of those Bibles on the left, the folks came and got them. The children lined up single file to get the goods that we had brought. We hauled these all the way from the United States. Technically, legally, in the country of Peru, they do not allow you to bring used clothes or shoes into the country unless they're your own. We just have a diverse wardrobe, as you can tell, and the Peruvian immigration officers are very happy with us when we get there. They know what we're doing there. They accept us. We claim everything. We don't hide anything from them because we don't want to go to jail in Peru. And but it's really neat because they always let them through. They always let us bring the goods. We brought soccer balls. We brought clothing for the kids. We want to bring more. It's just that we brought literally 6 bags. We paid hundreds of dollars just to Delta Airlines just to bring them. But there's a little boy getting a Bible. Of course, we're playing a little soccer. There's a grandmother down on the bottom. Actually, she's the mother of Paul, and there's Paul sitting there in the top right picture with with his grandmother. Actually, that wasn't his grandmother. The grandmother's up on the right. We're helping them with some medical bills. But Paul is this amazing little jungle child. He's 11 years old, but he has the strength of a male in the United States that's 40 years old.
Wow.
He's so sharp. He can identify any plants, and he's anytime you think he's playing, he's really just gathering something for you to eat or identifying an animal for you to look at.
Wow.
And he can spot things sometimes that even Percy, who's one of the top guides in the entire Amazon jungle, who's our close friend and right-hand man, there's things that he doesn't see that this Paul can point out. He's a boat navigator. He was with us in every single aspect of this trip, helping. He could haul 3 40-pound bags, one on each arm and one strapped around his head.
Up a
Up a
hill.
mountain. Up a mountain. I watched this kid do incredible things. I don't even know. It's like, Paul, if you're watching, you need adoption.
Yeah, seriously.
Come on, United States. He's amazing. But that's just the way they are. They're so strong. We're not, we might be bringing these donations. There's the little church service up the top right when we started gathering together for the church. Up on the top left is Jose, who was the one who climbed the tree. I was like, I need to shake your hand, and of course you shook my hand, broke
Right.
it. Little girl up there, and the waders that she had just gotten, the little muck boots. They love things that are summer clothes and muck boots. Anything, these rubber boots, I don't like Crocs, the corporation, because they told us basically, no, they don't help the people in Amazon. But those types of shoes are exactly what they need, and they're lightweight. The people are just amazing. They're very appreciative. But the main thing is, it really, the whole time we're there, it doesn't feel like we're not doing charity work. I know people here saying, oh, you're helping these people.
Right.
And the people there understand all we're doing is providing them with things that we have plenty of here that they don't have easy access to. And the main thing is clothing. Who's going to build a textile mill in the city of Iquitos that has 500,000 people, but they're landlocked?
Yeah.
There's no semi-truck shipping. There's no trains. They have to basically get all their clothing from China. And as you can imagine, it's low quality clothing, and they don't. When they see something from the United States, it's like gold to them.
They get really excited.
They get really
Wow.
excited, and our we do have good clothes, here a lot of times. So it's really neat. Let me tell you this story. So Jaime and Sadith, people who know us hear Jaime and Sadith all the time. Jaime is a 63-year-old shaman who we first met learning about ayahuasca and things of that nature. He accepted Christ on our last visit, and so did Sadith. Now Sadith has been dabbling in Christianity her whole life, but they were Catholic, and so that was their. They were kind of one foot in and one foot out a little bit. After Jaime accepted Christ, before he even left the village, people were making fun of him for having quit drinking and for having accepted. I saw a guy pointing at him, laughing, saying "Christian," laughing at, mocking him. And so they were kind of having some, marital issues. It was really
And some health issues.
and some health issues. Jaime actually had a vision. He had lost about 10 pounds. He doesn't weigh but 85 pounds. He had lost 10 pounds, and he was concerned about his health. And he had said that he had a vision of laying on a table, and there was a white cloth on the table, and he was surrounded by angels, and he didn't understand what they were doing to him or what they were doing for him. And so we prayed over Jaime, and we went on about our way. And then and I haven't been able to hear back from Jaime because Jaime and his wife, to go make money in the charcoal fields, making charcoal, they went upriver to Santa Cruz, another village where Sadith's parents live.
An hour and a half boat ride up the
An
river.
hour and a half rough boat ride on a board. In other words, you're in a little narrow boat, up the Amazon. So we went. I decided, well, we brought things for Jaime and Sadith. We didn't know they weren't going to be there, and so we're like, we're going to have to plan a day just to go there. So we did. We got together a group of 9 people in our boat, including Paul at the front, and literally there were 9 of us in this little boat that if I were to have stood up and just did this, we would all been in the water. So we get in the boat and we up the river. We got to the convergence of the river.
I don't know the
The
name
Tahayo.
of
The Tahayu River and the Amazon meet. And the Amazon is brown, muddy water. It's not dirty water really, but it's muddy water. Well, the Tahayo is black water. It's like a tea. The water it's the cleanest water on the
Still
earth.
water.
It's very still water, and it empties into the Amazon. But when it empties, there's this swirl, and it's where the dolphins, especially the pink dolphin, convene to play. And of course they're protected because people there think it's a curse if you kill a dolphin. So these dolphins aren't eaten. So they get to play. And so literally when you get to this convergence of the 2 rivers, you get this black water, which is only black because it's like all these plants are just steeping in the water. It's a tea. The water is tea. And
Wow.
so the dolphins love to play there. So we pulled over and watched the dolphins play for a little while. Beautiful and surreal. There's a village at the end. That's the village, as a matter of fact. But those are some pictures that we took of just being at this water. See the water, how clear and how perfect. And people don't think about that when they see the Amazon. All they see is that big, thick brown water that looks like chocolate milk. But there's a lot more to it. That's actually the village that's on the corner there, and that on the far right is that black water that I'm talking about. And think of tea more than anything dirty, because there is no pollution in that
No,
water.
it's-
There are no oil fields. There are no chemical companies. There's nothing
Wow.
but animals.
There's
and,
stingray in
there
there.
are stingray. You got to check the water before you jump in. Make sure that there's no critters there to eat you or stab you or poke you. Or,
Did you get in that water?
I almost did, but I was fully dressed and it was
Not-
really
we weren't
hot. We were in a
prepared this
hurry.
time for it,
Oh,
but next time we
we're-
definitely
we're
are.
jumping in next time. So when we got there, we gave Sadith's parents their own solar system. Jaime's the one there in the middle with me, and he decided that while they were preparing lunch, we brought Angela, who's our cook. She was going to prepare lunch for everybody. It turned into lunch that was going to be for about 12 people. It turned into lunch for 20 people.
Oh, wow.
Because a few friends and family came along after they saw that we were there. And that's actually Sadith's dad right there. He's like in his late 80s, and you talk about a strong, spry man. It's amazing. And then so we went while they were preparing lunch with Jaime over to the church. Jaime was very excited. Of course, they were ecstatic to see us. They didn't know we were coming, and they had just finished in the fields because it was so hot. They were taking a break in the fields, so they were covered in charcoal. And so they went and took us to the church. When we went to the church, we found out that there was a well at the church. And there it is. Good job, Eric. There's the church, the well there, which this plaque, and the plaque, of course, is where some gringos came and built it, and they're patting themselves on the back, saying how wonderful they are. But guess what? It didn't work. The well didn't work.
no.
2 years after they put it in, it doesn't work. So that's the thing about follow-up. Why help someone if you're not going to follow up and continue to help? Why if you aren't giving someone something that's going to continue to work or work right, then why do it to start with? It's just to feel good and put a plaque on it. So we found out that all they need is a pump. And so we sent Percy. He's already lined it up. We're going to send the funds to be able to, for them to get the well back working. They have
Nice.
everything needed. That's the leader of the community. And we just wandered up. First thing I did was wandered up, and I'm like, oh, a well? I've never seen a well, in a place
Yeah.
like this. And I turned it on, and there was no water. And the guy came over and said, yeah, it doesn't work. And so we're going to fix this well for them. This is the family of Jaime, along with Percy. There's young Paul in the orange. There's Jaime in the soccer shirt that I think says Spotify, which I don't know what their thing is with Spotify. And there we are. And that group, that picture was amazing. But let me tell you this story real quick. I know we don't have a lot of time, but when we got to Jaime's, it was blistering hot. I mean, the kind of hot that I would say the worst summer in Alabama, the worst week of summer in Alabama. Add just a couple of notches up to it. It's the kind
Oh,
of
that's
heat you
horrible.
can't escape. And
It
remember,
was
there's no air
rough.
conditioning, and there are no fans. They give us these fans that are made out of palm, and and they are helpful. But if you're doing this with going back and forth with the
A palm leaf.
with the
Yeah.
leaf, guess what? You're exerting energy.
You're working.
If we go back to that shot, it was. But we turned around and we were all just laying around hot, and we'd just gotten back from the church, and so. I asked Jaime, I said, can I turn on your Bluetooth speaker? And he's like, of course, you can do whatever you want. So I turned on the little Bluetooth speaker, and I had downloaded into my phone, of course there was no cell signal, but I downloaded into my phone a Spanish version of Hillsong's Oceans.
Oh, wow.
You know that song. I mean, I don't care what you think about Hillsong. That's a pretty song.
Right.
And so we started playing it, and all of a sudden, you felt the Spirit of God moving right
Oh,
there on
wow.
that porch. And I am not joking. They're just about through with lunch. It's hot as blazes. All of a sudden, you hear boom, and it was thunder.
Oh, wow.
All of a sudden, this cold wind.
Cold.
We never felt cold in the Amazon in our entire
It's like,
lives.
where did the cold come
Cold
from?
comes
Wow.
in. I mean, I just got chills just thinking about it. And so the cold wind comes, and all of a sudden the sun goes in, and this cold rain comes, and just cools everything. It was like,
Like
it's
20
like
degrees.
God had said, okay, I'm putting the
Wow.
air conditioner on 68, and you guys are going to have a lunch like you've never experienced
Oh,
before in your
wow.
life. They had handed us some jungle milk, which is always concerning. It's fermented yucca, and you got to drink it. You have to take a few drinks. If you don't, I mean, it's rude. So at that
yeah.
point, you're drinking mud water, is what I call it, along with the yucca, and it was actually good this time. And of course, I walked over and kind of got rid of a little bit of it. That's another story. Sorry, guys.
He's good at that.
Yeah, I'm really good at getting rid of food that's possibly going to kill you. And so, so we had that. The thunder comes, the rain comes, it cools everything off. We eat our lunch. The lunch was amazing. And then after we finished the lunch, Jaime started telling us about in Sadith, and we saw more joy on Sadith. Sadith is a paraplegic.
Oh, wow.
She's wheelchair bound, yet she lives in the jungle. You have never seen, Jaime carries her on his back with a strap that goes around his head.
Oh my
She weighs
goodness.
more than he does. He carries her up hills, he carries her up mountains, he carries her down grades that you would never be able to imagine. So he turned around and they basically told us that the day that we prayed for him, the day that we left, he started feeling better. His
Wow.
appetite improved. He gained all of his weight back. He's completely healed. Those angels that were
Yeah.
gathered around, they were healing him. That was what
Wow.
what he saw. He didn't know it, but he was on the operating table. They had his little tail
Right.
down there, and they were fixing him. And so we find out that the entire family has accepted Christ now.
Wow.
The nieces, the nephews, the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, every one of them, they renounced Catholicism. They've all started church. They're all saved Christians, the entire family.
Wow.
And so we're just blown away. There's Maria getting her Bible. Maria's the daughter of, the daughter-in-law of Mama Adela, who sold us the property to begin with. There's little Maria in our hammock, who really took to Deborah this time. She's not shy anymore. You can tell.
Finally, after 5 meetings,
Yep, after
she
a year and a
loves
half,
me.
she finally loves us. And there we are with Emily Carolina, who is our goddaughter, Lito's daughter, and they were able to join us for church that Sunday. You can just scroll through the pictures. We only have a few minutes. There we are with a Coosa Corner shirt, Leesburg, Alabama, Coosa Corner. There we are having a meeting with the teachers in Belen, and Lito and some of those. There's Paul on the far right. We're trying to, our daughter's 13, he's 11. We're trying to see what we can get going there. There's the retreat center there on the right.
Oh, how
There's little
nice.
Maria. If you can see that picture on your TV, if you can zoom in on that smile, that's just a pure. We just looked up and there she was, and we took the picture with our camera.
Cute.
I think there's a monkey possibly under the thing. I don't know, but that's just she was in our kitchen cabinet. These are some of the meals that we ate that Angela made us.
Angela is a fabulous cook.
And if anyone wants to come here, we don't charge anything. Just pay them for their services and what they do. You've never had beans. You've never had anything like that. On the left, you can see how we transport our bags on a boat. Sometimes they throw them on the top of the boat. That's a little sketch. There you see in the middle, you see the church, and that's at the Plaza de Armas in Iquitos. If you look closely, there's a little horse on the back of that tuk-tuk. They call those tuk-tuks.
Okay.
On the right, you see me, mildly sunburned, but with a mariposa that literally wouldn't leave me for miles down the Amazon. That little butterfly.
That is one thing I learned in Spanish. Mariposa.
Mariposa.
One of the only words I can remember.
Yeah, me too. And so obviously we never call them butterflies anymore. They're mariposas in the United States. And then that little seed pod down in the bottom right is something that Paul went and harvested out of the trees while we were waiting for lunch. There's delicious little nectar. There I am, exhausted. I'm literally sprawled out like that because, listen to me, my back was just shot. I mean, my knees, my back, my everything, my physical body, but I was so happy. That's Solange, who's Percy's daughter, beside us. Was acting as our translator, actually Deborah's translator while we were there. And Paul is actually under me. Yeah, Paul, poor Paul. I don't know.
Oh, now I see his arm over there.
Yeah, I don't know how exactly. I'm elevated.
Everybody's
He's way down in the
exhausted.
bottom of the boat, but he found that as an excuse to go to the bottom of the boat. There's so many stories that we have. We learned about the natural medicine. We learned so much more about our medicine. We went and visited our friend Elizabeth, who's the largest exporter of entheogenic medicine in the world.
Wow.
We've been offered free land now in Iquitos. Actually, just somebody wanting just to give us land because now they see what we've done in Santa Ana, so they're like, come to our village.
That's awesome.
And so our attorney is down there right now looking at the property and assessing the legitimacy of everything to make sure it's all normal and good. But I mean, God's really working down there. We're actually planning on manufacturing our P77 formula down there so that we can do it at a much reduced cost for them, so they can afford it, if not just give it to them.
Yeah.
And because it's been working so well for the dengue, for the malaria, for the parasites, and for everything else going on down there, the new strains of COVID. And so it's just, God's really working. We're super excited. I mean, 30 minutes, you can't even touch the story in 30 minutes, but it was absolutely amazing, and God showed out.
Awesome. Well, that's so great to hear. Who knows, we may have to revisit this. So we want to thank you all for joining us today on Truth, Health, and Wellness with Dr. Matt and Deborah St. John. Again, if you do have any questions, go see them at their shop at St. John's Nutrition, or send in the questions to their Facebook site. We'll try to get those answered for you. Have a great day. We'll see you back here next time.